Hello, welcome to the second cancer prevention reduction video put on by the Cancer Advisory Council of the DC Fire and EMS Department.
I'm Firefighter Mitchell. I was assigned to Engine Company 30. I've been on the department for close to 5 years now.
I'm Battalion Fire Chief Derek Hopkins. I'm currently assigned as the Medical Services Office at the Police and Fire Clinic.
Much like the last video, we're not going to do so much talking to the camera, no offense. This is going to be a conversation amongst three members of the department. As we discuss cancer, the impact it had on you as an individual, the impact it had on your families, the impact it had on your mental health, and really it's a message to the organization. It's sharing your story in hopes that it resonates with someone else to maybe change a bad habit or to maybe consider additional screenings or, you know, if nothing else, just for general education and awareness. Firefighter Mitchell, what was your specific cancer diagnosis and what was your treatment protocol like?
My specific diagnosis was non-Hodgkin's anaplastic large cell lymphoma, which is also ALK positive. I was diagnosed in 2021. As far as treatment, I completed 6 rounds of BV-CHP chemo. I did 6 rounds of that, and unfortunately I had a relapse. After the relapse, I was placed on a ALK inhibitor. Unfortunately, that didn't work out too well, so then I was placed on salvage chemo, and which ultimately led up to me having an allogeneic stem cell transplant. I did 4 rounds of salvage chemo. I had an allogeneic stem cell transplant. I was placed into a donor system to get stem cells. I had 1 match in the entire donor system. Ultimately, though, my stem cells came from my younger sister. I did that in the stem cell transplant. Currently, I am 8 months out from my stem cell transplant and still doing good right now.
During my rounds of chemo, it consisted of 2 infusions per round. During my first round, I did not tolerate some of the medications that I was given very well. I ended up hospitalized due to my white blood cell count dropping low, and I ended up with a blood infection. So I was hospitalized for about a week and was on IV antibiotics for approximately 2 weeks following my discharge. I had to have the Metaport that I had put in replaced because that became infected, which kind of set back my treatments. I completed my 6 rounds of chemotherapy in this past August, and the prognosis for Hodgkin's classic Hodgkin's lymphoma is very good, 95% or better of people that go through the treatment that I went through are able to go on with their lives without any other issues. My full body PET CT scan shows that I have no active cancer cells in my body. The lymph nodes that I had that were in my neck, my chest, and my pelvic region have reduced significantly.
If I'm correct in my recollection of this, last November, you and I were at an event the Monday of Thanksgiving week, and one of us unknowingly had COVID. Both of us later that week ended up being diagnosed with COVID, and on the other side of that, I was back to work in about a week, and your body just responded in a totally different way. I remember talking to you and you talking about how you got winded just walking to the door and how everything else was just seemingly not normal, and that went on for a few weeks. Could you just tell me about that change in your body and what ultimately led you to getting some further testing?
So after the COVID, I thought that I had cleared. The infection control cleared me, and I tested negative for COVID, and I was able to be cleared to come back to work, but the lymph nodes in my neck just never went down. I was still experiencing some fatigue, a lot of fatigue, night sweats, sleeping a lot, and I wanted to go to my doctor to get the diagnosis to what possibly could still be going on. And eventually my doctors felt it necessary to send me for a CT scan. In that they found that I had lymph nodes swollen in my neck and chest, which prompted them to give me a full body scan, and found out that it was actually my neck, chest, and my pelvic region. So my doctors at that point thought it was necessary that I go have the lymph node removed and biopsied. That was biopsied in January. I already had my suspicions that it was going to come back positive for cancer.
I had a swollen lymph node in my neck. It kind of went on, with COVID and stuff been going on. They thought it was possibly due to a COVID infection. It'll go down, and I started to have a really bad pain in my leg, which that wasn't normal. The CT confirmed the lymph node in my neck, but ultimately I had a biopsy, which confirmed that I had anaplastic large cell lymphoma. Which after that they do a PET scan, which showed that I had lymph nodes in my neck, chest, abdomen, were all swollen. A couple of the symptoms that Chief talked about. You had night sweats. I had a cough too as well. It was due to the lymph nodes in my chest swelling. They confirmed that it was in my bone marrow. I had to have they basically had to punch into my hip and check my bone marrow, and that's how I got diagnosed with stage 4. I had went through chemo. I'm sorry.
No, you're good, buddy.
Yeah.
You're good.
Went through chemo, and everything seemed to clear up. I actually went back to work after chemo. Went back to work 3 to 4 months in. I started to have another lymph node swell, which they biopsied again and found that I had a relapse. Went to crizotinib and had more chemo done up until the stem cell transplant.
Knowing that both of you are up to date on your annual physicals, knowing that both of you are relatively healthy individuals, that it was your own feeling that something wasn't right and that you listened to your body, you went and had it checked out, thankfully, and ultimately probably landed you in the position to allow both of you to sit here today and share your story?
I think it affected me the most. Not only was it in the beginning, it was very painful. Lymph node swelling in your body can be very painful. It was very painful. I think that is one of those things where you think that you can't get it until it actually happens. When you get that diagnosis, it's something that changes you. You're how are you going to get through this? You think about your family. You think about what you're going to do going forward. You think about your job. I mean, I love my job. Will I be able to go back to work? Will I not be able to go back to work? When you get cancer and the way that you've seen you lose weight, you look sick, things like that, having to see you go through chemo, you lose your hair, you lose your eyebrows and things like that. I think that it really did affect my family. It hurt my family to see me. I'm the strong one of the family. To see you down and out, that bothered them. Mental health wise, I think at some point it destroyed me. I was sad. I was crying all the time. I didn't know what to do, how to figure this out. I mean, it's very treatable, but still you have to go through it. You have to build your body back up. You get weak. Things like that. It was tough. It affected everybody close to me. At one point in time, my sister had to actually become my caretaker after my stem cell transplant. So her seeing me like that, that hurt her. It hurt my dad seeing me like that. I had to seek therapy to help me get through it. You can only help yourself when you realize you need help. You can't go through everything alone.
It did affect my family tremendously. My wife was a huge support. She pretty much had to take on the brunt of things in the house. I have a 2-year-old at the time in the home. I have an older daughter that's 21. With everything going on, my wife pretty much had to be the support for me because I was sick a lot. My energy was low. I remember when you came to visit me before my first treatment, and that was one of the things that was most impactful to me, to just know that someone outside of my nuclear family cared that much to come and see me off to my first treatments and just let me know that I love you, and it's what you said to me. I love you, and then you know, anything that you need, I'm here for you. So I definitely appreciated that, and that was something that helped me get through and was impactful to me.
We do a lot as a department and even as a fire service now to talk about prevention. However, the CDC came out 2 years ago, in January 2021, and said that firefighting in itself is inherently carcinogenic. In fact, 70% of the names added to the firefighter memorial wall from 2017 to 2021 were due to occupational cancer. A lot of that we can prevent, but not all of it, right? That is kind of the message here, is that we want you to do all of these things in the world to prevent this from occurring. But there's still a chance that it can by the nature of our job.
All right. All right. Congratulations.
Thank you guys. I'm doing well now. I am 8 months post allogenic stem cell transplant. So far, blood work looks good. Scans look good. They haven't found anything, and I don't think that they will. I hope that they don't. So I'm working with the O2X program, getting my strength back, getting back into a working condition for firefighting, things like that. And at this point in time, I'm doing good. I've recovered. Immune system is still recovering. Speaking of that, the chemo takes away your immune system sometimes. So I'm doing very well. I'm in good spirits. Hopefully, we're at the end of the tunnel, the light at the end of the tunnel.
How are you doing?
I'm doing much better than when I first started earlier this year. I'm 2 months out from my last chemo treatment, and I am recovering, getting my strength back as well. Like John said, you do lose a lot of your strength. I lost a lot of muscle mass and a little bit of neuropathy that I'm working through. But other than that, I'm doing great. My family is still a wonderful support. And I'm just looking forward to the many years that I have left with the DC Fire and EMS Department.
All right, Firefighter Mitchell, do you have any thoughts, any additional things you've thought about that you want to add?
So what I wanted to point out as well with the lymphoma that I was diagnosed with, it being that I had to get a stem cell transplant, what I did want to point out was that when I went into the National Bone Marrow Donor System, I had one match, and what I wanted to point out was that as African Americans, I believe there's only 35 to 45% of us find a match in the National Bone Marrow Donor System. So I was lucky enough to have my younger sister, but they don't. We have not donated enough bone marrow. People don't get tested, and it's something that people don't understand or don't know. It's not just a lot of people give blood, but you have to get your bone marrow tested so that you may be the match for someone.
I want to thank you both for taking the time to sit down with me today. It is a true honor to sit in your presence. Firefighter Mitchell, you and I talked about how I came down and gave that talk to your class back in 2019, and somewhere along the way, our paths separated, probably when I moved from the second to the fourth, but it was very good to run into you this past summer and to begin the conversation about what ended up being today. Again, thank you so much for sharing that. For our younger people especially, I think it's very important that they hear that. Chief Hopkins, I feel like, at least on the work front, and not on every front, but on the work front, I was there with you every step of the way and will continue to be. You really have become one of my best friends. I truly, truly appreciate you. People that aren't in the health and safety division don't understand how tightly knit our entire division is and how much we care about one another. Yes, they can be jealous of that their division isn't as close. Thank you again, man. It's been an honor watching you be as brave as you've been, for you just facing all of that and without ever flinching, just walking right through it, man. So thank you. You guys keep up the fight, keep up the talk, and everybody out there watching, if you see these guys, don't hesitate to ask them questions. They're here for you. So thank you, gentlemen.